Tell if we're actually live right now.
Normally, I go to X and I wait for it to pop up, but I know there's a delay, so I assume we're live. I see it. So, welcome to Dime TV, everyone, where one guy has no hair and the other guy has too much hair. So
I'm the guy with no hair.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell the difference.
Right there.
If you couldn't tell the difference. All right.
Cool.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to kick it off?
Well, maybe a short intro. I'm Rob, Fueled by Try. Been trading for 20-something years in crypto for a very, very long time, mining Bitcoin back when it was $3, and unfortunately didn't keep very much of that over the years. But excited to be here talking about crypto and markets in general. So
cool. And I'm Scissor. I've been in the industry for like 9 years. Somehow I've survived. I still have my moments of burnout, but
and you still have
was early to like algo trading Bitcoin back on the BitMEX days and the Deribit days actually. And yeah, I mean, here we are. I think options are the future, and that's basically why I'm here.
All right. So what are we getting started with today? Well, we got a few things to cover, I guess. We got some news we're going to talk about. We're also going to bring 50 Bips, Paradex CEO on a little later, and talk about what they're doing with options and some other things they got in the works right now. But I think kind of the big news, or one of the big pieces of news right now is, okay, so Bitcoin dropped below 70K today, but the guy who said he was never, ever going to sell his Bitcoin sold some in the last few days.
He told us to go into debt. He said, go into debt, buy Bitcoin.
Yes, yes. So what do you, okay, so we're talking about Michael Saylor and strategy, and, you know, the whole kind of these treasury companies, you know, that basically buy an asset like Bitcoin and just hang on to it. So I'm kind of curious, what do you make of this whole just strategy in general of buying Bitcoin or Ethereum as a company and then just hanging on to it as your business model?
I mean, a year ago, you looked like a genius. And
yes.
I'd been at a conference. So there was a number of companies doing that. And they were all like traditional finance people just kind of going through their financial statements and looking at like the NAV. And I was like, wow, yeah, really, really smart people. And then like a year later, you know, not so much. It depends when you acquired that asset. I think Michael Saylor is in a unique position that he has pulled off a DeFi, TradFi looping mechanism that I don't think anyone else will get away with. I think there's systemic risk, but I don't know what he's doing. So, I mean, maybe it's not as risky as I think, but I just, I can only imagine if he has solvency issues or debt issues that like compound.
Yeah. I don't even know if he knows what he's doing. I've watched some of his interviews sometimes, and it's like, I don't know if this guy actually understands what is going on here, you know, based on how he's talking about things. And his latest interview, you know, because he's talking about how he's going to pay the dividends. So the thing is, okay, so if you buy Bitcoin, you're basically selling shares to raise money to buy Bitcoin, or borrowing money, going into debt to buy Bitcoin. That's kind of their strategy, and then hanging on to it. How are they actually generating any income to pay their dividends? Okay, let me see if I can lower my camera here a little bit so we're kind of on the same level. I'm getting a message from the guys upstairs. The guys upstairs.
I have moved my chair from the left to the right.
I don't know. I'm adjusting my camera and it keeps like wanting to raise itself back up. This camera is too smart for its own good. So
Oh, but another comment I was going to make on Michael Saylor also was the whole stretch. So when I see these AI stretch videos, I mean, I laugh. I think they're hilarious. Like he
yeah,
kind of owns it, and then they're like, "Yeah, I don't know what they're paying, right?
yeah,
11%, 12%. That's what it says
yeah,
in the video."
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't think he follows any like financial advisor guidelines.
yeah. I don't think so either. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like, what is the actual business model? So you're buying Bitcoin. How is that different than an ETF, right? That, like the
Yeah.
Bitcoin ETF, for example. Other than that, they have a preferred, they have like preferred stock that pays dividends. But then the question is, how do they raise the money to buy those dividends if Bitcoin stops going up? So he was basically saying, well, they're selling more shares because the shares, their net asset value of the shares are higher than the Bitcoin that they're holding, right? So as long as they're trading at a premium, they can sell shares to raise money. So it's basically an arbitrage trade. They're shorting strategy stock and buying Bitcoin, right? So as long as they're trading at a premium, their net asset value is a premium to Bitcoin, they'll be okay. So the thing is, like, when that isn't the case anymore, and let's say a strategy starts trading at a huge discount to their net asset value, because let's say people stop believing in Michael
Mhm.
Saylor, what's going to happen then at that point? So I guess me as a trader or an investor, I don't understand why I would buy strategy versus just buying the Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
It seems like the ETF would have a lot less risk associated with it because it hasn't taken on all this debt in order to acquire its assets, right? So
Yeah. It
I
made for
don't
good
know.
media. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It brought a lot of
yeah.
attention. I'm sure like Robinhood traders or like GME, like meme stock traders,
Oh,
they're
totally.
like, "Oh yeah, we'll just do this. It's pumping. We'll buy it."
Yeah, totally, totally. So, and he kind of kicked off a whole wave of these type of companies, right? Like that are
Yeah.
just buying digital assets to hang on to them. So, kind of crazy. I don't think this is going to end very well, though. I don't know how long it'll go on for, but I don't think there's a happy ending for strategy in the
Yeah.
next few years, unless Bitcoin pumps massively. And that could happen because it seems like it's been the one asset the last couple of years that's been lagging, like behind gold, silver, oil, any commodity, the stock market for sure right now. Uh Bitcoin is kind of the unloved child. Maybe it's gonna catch a break that way. If Bitcoin takes off again, they'll be okay.
Bitcoin was
But
supposed to be the high beta play to the stock market.
yes,
And
exactly.
instead, you
Yeah,
look at some of these stocks and they're up like 5, 10x in the last 12
yeah,
months.
yeah,
I'm like, what
yeah.
are we
Like
doing here?
Micron, SanDisk. Like, it's crazy how much these things have gone up over the past 6 months or so, and Bitcoin is like
Yeah.
not even coming close to that, or Ethereum for that matter. Ethereum's like, I'm hurting.
Rest in peace,
I'm hurting.
Ethereum. Oh, I had a friend or friend of a friend. He was full ported into Ethereum since like 2021, just
Uh-huh.
hodling.
Yeah.
And then, he didn't sell last year because, people
Mhm.
thought 5,000, 6,000, 10,000
Yeah.
Ethereum. That
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
That
had
didn't
Arthur
happen.
Hayes like saying Ethereum's going to the moon. But yeah, I mean, I've had Ethereum since, it was, I probably bought it just under $20 a long time ago.
Wow.
And yeah, I haven't really sold much of it. Not that I have a ton of it, but uh now I'm looking back on that $4,000 mark, and I was like, man, that was probably a good time to cash some in. But when everything's going up, it's hard to make that call. I mean, how do you do that? Like, how do you decide? Are you purely systematic with your decisions that you make, or do you do some discretionary type trading as well?
I've become the counter trader. So, or the contrarian investor.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I mean, I've overheld 2017. I overheld. I rode that portfolio 95% down. But that was like my first big break, trading for real. I realized to actually just block out all the noise. That's the only thing you can do. And I prefer to try and have a better cash balance as well as whatever I'm holding long term or short term, because I just can't predict the markets. So I just think it's always good to have some cash. I don't think it's always good to buy every dip, but it's better for my mental health because I'm not thinking about the charts all the time or the price. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I saw somebody post on X. It said, it's like if you lose 5 or 10 minutes worth of sleep because of your position sizing, your positions are too large. Somebody responded like, "Bro, I haven't slept in 4 days." It's
Yeah.
like your positions might be a little too big if you're losing that much sleep over. But you see just these crazy booms and busts, like all the liquidations that get posted. I can't remember what's the guy's name. It seems like he's getting liquidated like every few days. He was making a shit ton of money for a while the market was
Machi?
raging. Was that?
Machi or James Wynn?
Yeah, James Wynn. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's sus to me. All these big losers are sus to me because I'm
Yeah.
like, when you have that much capital, typically you're running like a very simple ARB operation or somebody's doing it for you. So you
Right.
only see the public side, but like if you're
Right.
on like Binance or Bybit or even like wherever Coinbase institutional, like you should be hedged on the other side. If you have like
Right.
$25 million, $100 million,
Yes.
you're just taking directional trades with 100 mil. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It does seem a little sus. But the other interesting thing too is like, why are they allowing these accounts to get liquidated? So even if they're hedged on the other side, for example, I mean, liquidation is an expensive way to exit a position, right?
Yeah.
Because the exchange is going to charge you a shit ton of money to get liquidated. It's not like you're paying the 2 basis point taker
Yeah.
commission, right? So plus you probably get awful slippage too when that position gets liquidated. So it's like, okay, even if these guys have so much money that they're like, okay, I'm gonna just throw this into an account, and even if they were taking directional bets, you know, uh, why aren't they just closing out the position when it gets close to zero, rather than
Yeah.
it just getting
So I mean,
liquidated?
I've been in that situation though, because like 2018 through 21, like 24/7, that's what I was doing. We had a small little like fund, and it was just high frequency trading and hedging. So it was delta neutral. Sometimes the positions change so fast, or the market changes so fast, a liquidation just happens, and then you got to close out your other account that's deep in the profit. And sometimes you just take a couple percentage loss.
Yeah.
But assuming you're running a tight, profitable operation, it's just the cost of doing business, because you can't predict pure like volatility, and you can't always deleverage your position even if you're hedged. So I mean, when we're talking in like $50 million plus range, and you include a little bit of leverage, because you're assuming you're like capital efficient, so you're also probably like 5x leverage on those accounts. I mean, that's some compounding losses. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I don't know if you're talking about like funding rate arb, but that's kind of like the thing I see with people that want to do funding rate arb is that's something they don't take into account, right? The fact that they're going to have to constantly monitor both exchanges, because they don't, as one position moves up, the other one's going to move down, right? And it can happen very, very quickly before they have time to react and either rebalance their funds between the two exchanges or close their positions out. So it's
well, in the past the spreads were bigger though too, so you actually could buy low and sell high. And obviously the more capital you have, I mean, a couple bucks or $5 difference on Bitcoin, $10 difference on Bitcoin is still significant with tens of millions of dollars. But in the past there was like $100 spreads on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I know, those days are gone. Those days are
Dude, it was
gone.
like being a pirate. It was the best day ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd remember looking at the screens and you're like, is this real? Like I could point and click this ARB right here just manually,
Yeah.
So, I mean, things are way more efficient, but now also there's so many more venues to trade on that there's still a lot of opportunity for, various arbitrage trade type strategies between them. Probably not being able to trade them in a huge amount of size, but um, you know, they're still out there. So,
Yeah.
so I guess the other piece of news, and this is more of a theoretical exercise because we're gonna get talking more about options and stuff um, in this segment. Is we had this paper, I guess it's a white paper by Vitalik Buterin, and talking about basically replacing the underlying mechanism for how really, I guess, how an oracle works for pricing an underlying asset, right? And his proposal is to use options to do that. And so I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. I can share my screen here just so we can show the paper.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a read, but also it's like, buddy, you're a little late. Like the whole industry's designed itself around liquidations and perps. Like,
Yes,
you know,
a little late, and also just the amount of complexity to pull this off, right? That's going to be
yeah,
required, and also like he mentions in here, this is going to cost, it's going to cost money to implement this in real life, right? So whoever holds this asset's going to be willing to endure the slippage required to roll these options positions over, because
yeah.
there's going to be slippage, there's going to be commissions, and how is that? How are users gonna? Is that going to be a trade-off that users would be willing to accept?
I mean,
But
Vitalik, if you ever watch this, I know all you do is click the sell button. So you and the foundation. So like, come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? All you're gonna do is sell.
yeah,
You're gonna
well, I
redesign the
mean, also, how
system.
much does he have? Like,
I don't know, a lot, but the foundation, all they do is sell. So it's
yeah,
like, come on, you guys have
yeah,
spent no time except clicking the sell button.
yeah,
Help me out here.
yeah. Well, I mean, so what do you think the future is of Ethereum then? Like, is it going to be a long-term, platform that is still going to be around in 5 or 10 years, or is Solana or some other chain going to be kind of the
I
way of the
I don't
future?
know. I don't know. I'm actually sometimes it's funny because BlackBerry stock's been popping and they've done a good job of like pivoting themselves in the industry. And I would
Uh,
upset some people, but I would joke and say like, I would say that Bitcoin is kind of like BlackBerry, like a
uh,
great first mover to the smartphones, just like peer to peer, transfer, value or whatever. But you didn't have like a smart contract layer, like just at the Bitcoin native layer.
hmm
So I know I don't know. I don't know what to think of Ethereum, right? Because Bitcoin has done so well, it's been simple and it hasn't tried to do anything extra. And
yeah,
Ethereum offered all of this like extra programmable layer, and then they kind of just stagnated. So
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Well, so I haven't done a ton of research about this, but are there any like actual like real world applications that are using Ethereum, not something for the DeFi space? Because we could say, everything in DeFi that's been built, you know, is basically, I don't know, this whole ecosystem seems like it's kind of, it doesn't get out into the real world that much. Like, are we using
Yeah.
DeFi or Ethereum in a way that we don't know, like out in the wild? Would we know that, you know,
I
or
just
or is
think of
everything Ethereum?
Circle. I
Yeah,
think USDC and Tether. I think those have been the
yeah.
best like real world leverage like use cases of a blockchain for
hmm
Ethereum at least.
hmm
But they don't belong or they don't need to like survive on Ethereum. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of wondering is like when are we going to see stuff that like the normal person would know that, oh, this is actually running on blockchain and running on Ethereum, right? I mean, so much of the applications I feel like for Ethereum are around DeFi, and normal people aren't using DeFi in their everyday lives, at least not right now, you know.
No,
So
no. And then we still have AWS. So we haven't
yeah.
totally escaped like some form of central hosting.
Oh, totally, totally. Yeah. I mean, yeah, an AWS locale or region goes down, and half the world's servers grind to a halt. So, um, yeah, I don't know. This is a very interesting and very interesting mental exercise, I feel like, and an interesting theory. I don't think this is going to actually. I don't necessarily see anything actually coming to this. I think you're right. Like, we've built so much stuff around the liquidation mechanism, and not only is this kind of late to the party, but it just seems like it's going to be insanely complex to implement something like this, you know.
I wouldn't. My thought is like the global financial markets are like the most efficient markets in the world. So it's like you have spot, you have your stock, you have your futures, you have your ETFs, you have your options. Like
Mhm.
why would crypto be any different in the long run? We have our
Yeah.
perps, which are our futures, we have our spot tokens, and now we're, moving towards options. So I
Mhm.
just see it being a part of the global financial landscape.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's come a long way for sure, and kind of like you had mentioned back in the BitMEX days, that was kind of one of the first exchanges that offered option or futures trading, right? So,
Yeah.
um, which was a huge thing. You could trade Bitcoin on leverage at the time. So I was trading there. I was doing market making there because they were paying a 2.5 basis point rebate to market makers at BitMEX. So I mean, you could have like just an okay market making algo and be killing it with the rebates basically, and then they were
Oh,
paying.
with the actual ARB spread on the price of Bitcoin and the funding rebates, yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was like those days will never come back, but it was the
yeah,
best.
yeah. I was very sad when when I wasn't able to do that anymore. And I mean, the commissions were pretty high. It was like 7.5 basis points, but people were like gladly paying that because there was so much money to be made. Those were the good old days.
Yeah,
But now, 5 years from now, we're going to be saying the same thing about today, about all the opportunities that, and strategies and stuff. And we can probably get in that with options a little bit more because that's something somewhat new, at least on in the DEX landscape, you know. And I don't know if you're
yeah,
making how much you're making use of options in some of your strategies. But I think that's kind of be the next frontier for potential arbitrage opportunities in crypto.
yeah, yeah. That's where like synthetic hedging comes in. So you can buy like the actual asset and or a future, and then use an option to hedge. So there's plenty of ways to do that as well. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't really discriminate, I think at the end of the day, if it's a profitable trade, you should take it, and
Yeah.
I think more people will discover that. Sometimes the RWAs, their funding rates can be a bit high. And I'm like, ooh, I'm not sure if I can take this trade. Like, like this trade on silver is a little high for funding. Like,
Yeah.
for like a silver perp or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think too for newer traders, that's something to kind of be mindful about because you saw it especially with the oil perps WTI and Brent is the funding rates would go plus or minus 200% annualized on them. But then if you read the fine print of how they're doing the rolls or how they're calculating the rolls, because they're basically trying to mirror the real world futures contracts, right? And the oil market is just crazy right now because the front month of the futures curve is priced so much higher than the months further out. And so So you're making money off the yield and the funding rate, but you could be losing money on the price because they're basically having to, roll to a contract that's a much different price than the one that's expiring, in the real
Mhm.
world. So so you have to be careful, especially if you're trying to do funding rate arbitrage between two exchanges that are trading RWAs, that you have to see how those two exchanges are calculating their roles between each expiration, and it could be very different. So you could make money on the funding easily and then get killed because the prices are not going to end up converging. So yeah, funding rates on RWAs are something, yeah, you definitely need to be careful about when you're trading those. So, but it's been pretty freaking cool to like see all these RWAs coming out in perp form, I feel like.
Oh yeah. I'd say it's safer than DeFi this year for as many DeFi hacks as we've had,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
various
Totally.
exploits or whatever, Aave, Credit Crunch, and whatever that other
Hmm.
actual lending protocol that caused that problem. So, I mean,
Hmm.
I'd rather gamble on perps. Not that I'm a gambler, but I feel safer trading RWA perps than your whatever 4-year-old, 5-year-old DeFi protocol.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I mean, there was drift as well, the drift hack, and hard to
Oh
deny
yeah, yeah.
that. That's crazy because I was like, anybody could have fallen for that. Like, they built so much trust with that team. They spent months and months and months and months. It wasn't like some sort of social engineering hack where they sent a just one link and somebody accidentally clicked it. This was like in planning in months, and it's like I could be working with anybody, totally trust them eventually, and then my wallet's drained for $500 million. And would
Yeah.
I know $500 million is missing from my wallet? I don't know, but
You have that many billions. He's that many billions.
I mean, all these benefits of DeFi, right? I love the whole decentralized aspect of it. You don't have a central entity controlling things, right? You're basically opting out of the banking system, and having government potentially, arbitrarily freeze funds or whatever. But you have to worry about, with that comes other things that you have to worry about, right? There's not an easy way to roll back some of these things that happen as we're seeing. So um
Yeah. A couple months ago, I watched, it was like a Amazon documentary. It was basically on the history of Wall Street. It's got to
mhm,
be like 7 episodes or whatever. It's kind of that like dramatic documentary style, like JP Morgan, like Goldman, all these guys. It's like all the things that we've seen in crypto that actually started with the stock market. Half
yeah,
of these
yeah,
rules, the way they did phone calls and news and press and discounted cash flow, future valuation, like as
mhm,
well as all the bad stuff too. They've
mhm,
already done it all. Like that was
mhm,
happening, in the early like few decades of Wall Street.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally believe it, because it seems like crypto is kind of the Wild West, right?
Yeah.
There'll probably be more regulation and stuff coming around that, because the same exact thing happened in the real world assets originally, right? You had people taking advantage of all those things as well back then. So and you probably still have it's still happening today, I'm sure. It's just it's hidden a lot better, right?
Yeah.
You still have
Or
scammers.
sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes some
Well,
of these people don't care.
that's a whole nother ball of wax there. Yes. The amount of corruption, open corruption now in I mean, now financial markets, and then the prediction markets also, you
Oh
know,
yeah, true.
um,
True.
I
The
don't know.
prediction markets I don't really touch too much because they're
Yeah.
just I don't know, too liquid.
Hmm.
Just coin flip bets. I'm just not into that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's a market. I think it's just gambling. And I'm not
That's what I
sure.
mean, yeah.
So I guess the question is a prediction market, is it necessary? So futures market, for example, the purpose of the futures market is to transfer risk, right? From somebody producing or consuming a good to a speculator who's willing to take on the risk, right? Somebody's hedging their oil, consumption, and there's a speculator willing to take the other side of that trade. But with the prediction market, what good is that doing society that, you're betting on if the temperature in London is going to be above, 15 degrees Celsius today, or if Maduro is going to get, pulled out of office by some date. You just got.
If anything, it was kind of a new way of providing insider information. And
yes,
the corporate or political
insider information. What up, Viti?
Yeah. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
What's going on?
Good to see you.
Likewise. I was listening. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in and hijack. You guys are having a good conversation about prediction markets. But,
yes. Well, Bait, is market really a good name for that mechanism? Or is
I mean, I have some. I actually have the counterpoint to what you guys were saying. Definitely, there's like a bunch of things that, I mean, just like crypto, right? There's just so much nonsense that it's got no intrinsic value. I don't think prediction markets are no different, right? It's just like there's a subset of these markets that are incredibly helpful to the world, and then there's the others that are like, it's just like, what's the point of them? But like anything with any kind of like revolutionary technology or a revolutionary thing, it's like there's two sides, right? There's never a single thing that you can say, oh my God, this is, anything good that's invented can always be, it's like a tool. Like you can just use it in a positive way, or you can use it kind of in this degenerate, just like expand the set of degenerate gambling tools that we have. But I think that ultimately, like, I think it's a net positive to the world, especially and specifically because, like, I think financial markets today don't actually, I mean, in a world where there's like, it's so cheap to manufacture information, right? Actually, the way to sift out, this idea of a truth machine, right? The way to like sift out like the truth from opinion or fact or whatever. I think that's prediction markets can like basically like help with that, right? So it's like interesting that the timing of this thing is happening at the exact same time as that you're seeing this like explosion in AI, because it's just so cheap now to manufacture data and just like opinion. It's a way to basically help the world kind of deal with this like runaway AI information problem, because with these markets you can actually kind of like actually get signal, because people are putting where their money where their mouth is, right? It's not just generating opinion and then crowdsourcing that opinion, but there's real dollars at risk that are being going into these things. And not everything is perfect, but it's at least offers us a way to extract kind of like information from things when just there's so much noise, right, in the world. So it's like just helps with that signal to noise ratio, I think.
Well, talking about AI, do you want to talk about what's coming with the Dime terminal?
Oh yes, there's a lot of really cool shit. But actually, before we, because you guys have been talking a little bit about options, right?
Yes.
Last couple of weeks. So I did want to spend a little bit of time on some option stuff, which I think you guys will find interesting. So let me just, how do I share with? Just share screen. There you go.
Yeah, all and then they gotta. Dan's gotta enable it there. There you go. All right. Ouch.
Ouch, indeed. First of all, what do you think, dude? The market has been so strange, but like I was, equities were up, Bitcoin was down, and basically everything else was up, and Bitcoin was down. So I was like really scratching my head a couple of days ago, and then I realized that this like whole quantum thing is like so real, right? Like I don't know whether you guys have been catching this, like ECDSA.fail. The Eigenlabs guys just like, basically like kind of open source this way for people to basically, I think they achieved, I think 80% of Google's result, which is insane. And they're trying to basically get more. And I actually think a huge part of why Bitcoin's, it's basically just this whole quantum thing is like, I think this risk is pretty real. And so the market's obviously selling off and shitting the bed. So I don't know what your guys' take is on this.
Well, I mean, so that's probably part of it. I don't know. I haven't done a ton of research on the quantum stuff, so it sounds like it's probably closer than I initially had assumed. Because I assumed like, okay, we don't need to worry about quantum breaking encryption for another 10 years at least, but it sounds like it's going to be much closer than that. And maybe because AI potentially is accelerating our research and understanding about how to build this, that could be one aspect. I mean, the other thing too is like you have so much freaking money rotating into AI stocks right now, right? And crypto has just kind of been hated on for, the better part of this year at least. Yeah. So maybe you got that, you got, I don't know. It's kind of a risk asset. So there's stuff around the Iranian war, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit before we see Bitcoin take off again. I think the AI hype is going to have to run its course first, and people are going to have to get burned with that, and then we maybe see some capital rotating back into.
Yeah. I think it's the reason I think it's like mainly Bitcoin, because obviously if you look at just like the charts, it's basically just Bitcoin that's like selling off. Everything else.
Yeah.
Well, Ethereum hasn't been doing that great either.
No, but I'm saying in the last like day or so.
Oh, day or so. Okay. Yeah. That's true.
If you look at like Bitcoin's down 5% today. ETH is barely moved. It's like 0.3% down.
Yeah.
HYPE is up. Sol is down maybe 1.5%. XRP is, whatever. It's fine. Like usually Bitcoin's down 5%. The beta to these things have to it is like insane, right? I mean, these things would be down at least 6, 7, 8%.
Yeah.
But everything else is like barely moved. So it's pretty clear to me it's like quite isolated, and especially on a day when the equities markets are whipping, it's sort of against the backdrop of Iran. Like I think it's definitely a Bitcoin only thing. So, which is bad in general, because obviously, everybody's hurting because everybody's got Bitcoin.
I mean, XLM was a sleeper too, because they had that big partnership last week with, who was it? The DTCC?
Yeah, that was like totally random. I saw that too. I was like, what? Like Stellar?
Yeah.
Kind of, resurrecting out of nowhere. But yeah, makes sense. Okay, so while the market is shitting the bed, which is not a great background to be talking about, but
well, no, kind of. I mean, because the options you can use to make other bets, right? You don't need it's not just long, but
yeah. So we're here. So one thing I want to talk about is like we put in a lot of work into figuring out like what the right UX was for options. Obviously everybody's done different flavors of it. There's like lots of small little things I want to sort of highlight that we did. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Just that way. Yeah. So, well, first of all, like if you just look at the strike rate in general, and yeah, Dan, I'm not sure if you're seeing this, but we basically need to zoom out a little bit. Well, first thing is like I think we're one of the few options you guys out there that actually have click trading on the order book. So I'm not sure if you guys have played with it yet, but it's a pretty cool feature where you basically can just one click execute. So you basically have the ability to like pre-populate a size, and then so let's say right now it's in June, and let's say I want to buy these like 68,500 puts. Basically, I just I just sold it. Oops, sorry. So then I just bought it. I just double clicked and bought it. Right. Usually you have to go to the order book and you got to put in your thing. Here, you just like double click and you get it. Which again, I think, especially in a time like this when the market is moving a lot, was moving fast, and you want to make a quick entry, like a quick UX like this is super helpful.
Yeah. So how did you set your size when you did that?
So basically I just go here, I go to options, and then if you see a default order size for one-click trading, and for each asset you basically can just either set it in USD or BTC, and then that it just defaults to that, right? So this is a nifty.
It sets an IOC order for the current best bid or ask then for that.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
So this was something that again, this draws a lot upon our Paradigm experience, because on Paradigm, which I don't think you guys have ever seen or demoed, but this is one of the really cool features on Paradigm. It's just like, so you can see this is what the market is trading. Obviously, it's a much bigger size trades. You can see somebody just traded like 1,000 BTC clip like a few minutes ago. But here you go. Somebody just bought like 1,000 BTC worth of puts, or sold rather. So I think these guys bought it a few days ago. They called the quantum thread perfectly, and then I think they just made out with the bag. So really good call on them. But like, one of the cool things is, as soon as you create an RFQ, you see these live prices, and then you can just immediately like double click and sell, right? So this like quick trading is basically where we got it from. It's immensely popular. I mean, everybody uses it. This is the default way of executing. And so we basically brought that over to Paradex on the UI. It's like, hey, markets are moving. I want to move things quickly. I just effectively just like turn on one-click trading here. And then boom, I just have this like, double click option that I can, do a fill or kill with, which I think is a really cool feature. The other thing is just like, it's super easy to navigate the grid. So I don't know if you use some of the other platforms. It's like very clunky. Like, you have to like click on this very specific price to get the order book up. Here, like, if I'm just moving through things, if I move expiries, oh cool, 74, boom, I like instantly see it here, and I don't have to worry about. Well, first of all, two things. One, it's very easy to navigate. Number two is, as soon as I like click on an instrument, I see everything I need. I need the trades, I see the order book, and I see, so there's no trade-off between, oh, I don't see the order book, I can only see the order book or the trades, and like the option grid at the same time, right? So again, like, there's all these like tiny things, but like, if you've been doing trading options for a long time, you basically like never want to give up. It's all information, right? You want to keep as much context without having to basically give up something, especially when things are moving sort of like quickly, right? So that's a really another cool feature. The other thing is like, if you're just looking at the options grid, you don't want to look at the order book. Just like, it's just always on, it expands, and this can be like a kind of like a dedicated screen. Talk about like screen real estate, right? We want this to be the default screen on traders' desktop, so it's like very important for us to like optimize for that. And then another really cool thing, which this is not live yet, but like, one of the things that, again, I think most options UIs, they kind of de-emphasize the chart. I don't know if you guys have probably seen this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of annoying because, it's kind of annoying. I mean, I understand that you don't want to see the chart of the premium itself because, it's kind of like not as relevant. But I do want to see the chart of the based on where the underlying price is. So we have this chart. Basically, it's like, you have the spot price, and you can basically like, we will be adding some nifty features too, where you can like see like the percentage shock move, like up, down, and then basically be able to set your strikes effectively based on, the plus minus of that, right? And so again, that's also kind of like neatly hidden here. It's just like, all you do is you just move. It's like, oh, cool, boom, and then you just go back and you effectively like, start trading, right? So again, that's a third thing that I really like. And then the rest of the stuff I think is pretty standard. But again, I don't think people put in as much work here. It's like, okay, if I only want to filter the amount of strikes that I want to see around at the money, then great, I can just quickly do that.
Yeah, I actually like that. That's quite convenient to have.
Yeah, it's like, because most of the times you don't really want it to see like fucking the 30 strikes, especially for the farther out, like the farther expiries, because they can be like 50 strikes, right? And it's like, it's very hard to like focus on, okay, this is what, exactly, a lot of noise. Or you could just set the strike range too, which is another really cool nifty feature. And then my personal favorite is kind of having IV, right? It's just like seeing basically things both in IV and in the underlying. So here is just like viewing things in IV, because like a lot of options traders tend to think in IV terms, right? They look at the price, but they're not really thinking in IV price. They're not thinking in price terms, but they're always thinking in IV terms. Again, that's another really cool feature that I really like.
It'd be awesome if you could plot the IV actually over time.
Correct. We will add that very soon. So just like right here on the chart, you will be able to basically plot not just mark last spot but also IV, right? So you'll be able to basically like see that. And then the other cool thing is like payoffs, right? The payoffs for each individual strike are here. So if you're kind of like a novice, you don't really want to understand, don't exactly understand options, this is a really cool way to basically visualize, the payoff of any instrument. And it's like very conveniently just like put on the order book, right? So again, very small little things, but it's all about UX for options, because options are quite difficult anyways for people to understand. So basically every small little thing we do to make it easy, I think it just makes the experience a little bit more delightful. Okay, so the other thing which is really tied to time terminal, and I'll get to that in a second. It's just like I said options are hard, right? And in general, people obviously versus a linear instrument such as perp, which is just like it's like up or down and it's leverage. It's pretty simple to understand. Options in general, you have this like wall of strikes. You have delta, you have vega, gamma. People payoffs. Like what the fuck is all this? Like it tends to get a little bit like complicated for people. And so, everybody has tried to solve this in sort of like a UX sort of way, right? Which is like Robinhood, of course, is famous for, having this like very super simple order book. You just see the price, the buy, the sell, and you have this like very quick, easy way of constructing something. It's like, do you think Bitcoin is going up or down? And then
yeah.
click on this chart, right? And it kind of like gives you the trade effectively. Quite frankly, I've never really liked that, because it kind of like it constrains you to forever solve everything by just like these very small, simple, dumb UIs, and then like you're eternally just like confined to that space, right? Users can never like get out of that. There's not much you can do with just having, and then not to mention as a developer, you have to build these UI paths for basically every single thing you do, which is like a non-scalable thing, right? And so, we were like, especially over the last 6 months, or like actually over the last year, because when we rolled out perpetual options, this was the conversation, which is like, how do we make this easy? And rather than trying to do what everybody else has done, we decided, let's just wait for AI to get better, because, ultimately what people want is they have intent and they want to execute, right? All this UI shit is just something we've built to make it easy for them to get there. But the easiest thing would be if they just have like a coach that they can speak to, right?
Yeah.
And so our way of like basically solving the options UX problem is to actually not even worry about the UI, is to actually say, hey, you know what? You just have this coach that is with you, right? So here's basically that's what time terminal is, right? So time terminal is now very neatly kind of embedded into the experience. You guys can see this, right? Just my screen is not getting cut off.
Yeah, I think they're trying
I can
to
see
adjust
it, but
yeah. I think they're trying to adjust it because our video is over top. There we go.
Right, there you go. Okay. And so this is very cool, because like, first of all, terminal is like neatly kind of just built into the UX, so it's like doesn't really impose over the rest of the UI. And if you think about it, like ultimately it's over the order builder, because if you think about the order builder, ultimately an order builder is a way to express intent, right? But it's a very constrained way to express intent, because it has only like a certain a fixed amount of paths, right? You have maybe a limit order, you have market order, you have maybe a T-walk, but like with every sort of like intent, you need to build a UI path to basically for the user to follow, right? But if ultimately you just want intent, then like the easiest way to give intent is through free speech or like free text, right? And so perfect example, Bitcoin's at 67K. and I'm like, okay, you know what? Like I want to play this move such that I think let's say IV, let's say it's a little bit elevated. Let's say June is like 44. Like let's say June, let's say like 12 June right here, right? So you see, okay, so you see like 12th June, and you said maybe you're feeling a bit risky. You're like, you know what, 19 June, I want to sell the, I don't know, let's say 26 June, right? I want to sell the, I think Bitcoin will rally in a couple of weeks. This move is sort of temporary. Maybe it's overdone. Let's say I want to sell the, I don't know, 62.58 sort of like put spread, right? And then just collect the premium for a couple of weeks. IVs anyways like about 50% right now. Maybe I can collect that as premium, right? So then I'll just say it's like, hey, please sell the 60, 50, 60, 50, let's say 60, 55 put spread. Yeah, and so now it'll obviously think, and I'll go into the details, right? So the really cool thing here, which again is,
I don't know if there's a way to zoom in on that. The guy's running the video, so we can kind of see what it's saying there. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
so this is sending an RFQ.
Exactly. So here's the magic thing. We've now connected it directly to Paradigm. So without Paradigm being sort of in the UI, it is basically talking directly to Paradigm, which is a completely separate platform. And basically get a price, right? So if you look at now Paradigm, so if I just like move screens here for a second, you will basically see on Paradigm side, effectively it should, it said invalid instrument, need correct instrument ID for 55K poker in June, resending ID is expired. Interesting. So let me just check the curse of the demo. Let me just see what this is. Okay, so
for anybody that hasn't done, isn't in software, the demo is always where things go wrong.
Correct. Yeah. And so because I didn't give the expiry. That's exactly okay. For 26 June, I did say that, right? So what did I say? 60.55 put spread, right? Yes, 26 June, 60.
Keyboard's like mine too. I just smash it. I don't even fix like my typing.
I have one of those gaming keyboards, the Corsairs. I used to be a professional gamer before, back in the day, so I'm like addicted to this.
That's why you always make like the CS:GO comments.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
About that too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah, I still follow. Okay, so it's basically saying 60, 56, fine. That's no worries. You can do that. Okay, so now on the RFQ side, there you go, boom. So you see it like generated like a put spread here on Paradigm, again, completely separate platform. And now basically I can either execute here or execute, okay, here, yes. So it's saying negative. Let's just want to make sure it's like doing the right thing. So for BTC, okay, sell the 60, buy the 56. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna buy this. Okay, lift the offer. Okay, lift. Yeah. So I'm being very specific, because I just want to make sure like it does both the sides properly. Okay, lifting the ask, boom. And it should work. Boom, there you go. Oh shit, you guys didn't even see that. Fuck, darn it.
No, there you got your toast. You got your toast.
Yeah, so it popped up, and then boom. Yeah. You see my position here, right? So now I'm basically short.
Okay,
56.
Okay, can you take a step back though, because I know a lot of people probably are not that familiar with Paradigm, right? Like, especially retail traders. Can you walk us through a little bit about what the RFQ mechanism is and why that might be beneficial to route trades over there, and how Paradex and Paradigm are also related to each other. Like why are
Exactly.
there two separate places to execute trades?
Correct. So for those that don't have context, I guess, Paradigm is the business I built first, so back in 2019. Here's kind of like here's what the platform looks like. This is on production, it's live. This is used by the largest institutions in crypto to basically buy and sell options. So if you're an institution and you are trading options, there's 99% chance that you are using Paradigm. Right? We are the largest block provider in the market. We were the first. We sort of built this market from scratch. There was before us, this market did not exist. We have over 3,000 institutions on the platform. And the reason institutions use us is pretty straightforward. If you want options in size, let's say you want to buy 1,000 BTC put, for example. Let's say here, right? This is a really good example. So this was traded, let's say, at 9:53, which is a few minutes ago. Almost 20 minutes ago, somebody wanted to buy, or sell 5th June 70,000 puts, right? And they wanted to do that, in 1,000 BTC. If you try to do this trade on the order book, there's going to be no liquidity. Nobody's posting 1,000 BTC resting liquidity on the order book. That's just nobody does that, right? So you have to basically go to the OTC market and go request it from a dealer and say, hey, dealer, I have intent to buy 1,000 BTC. Will you show me a price? And so the idea of an RFQ, which is a request for quote, comes from this like request response type of interaction, which is to say, here I have intent. I'm going to show you my intent, which is my size and my structure. Please show me a price, right? And so Paradigm was built to basically solve this need that like anytime there's a liquidity need for something very large, so something like 1,000 Bitcoin, or like our minimum ticket size is 25 Bitcoin on Deribit, right? And so we can basically, using our RFQ, we can effectively source this liquidity for you. But this also works really well for if you want to do something complex. So let's say you want to do a put spread, right? When I want to buy a put and I want to sell a put, like the trade that I just executed. Now, whenever you're executing, two instruments where you have offsetting exposure, chances are that when you do execute them together and atomically, the dealer is able to give you a better price than if I went to each order book by themselves. So if I went to the 60,000, put order book, and then the 55 or the 56,000 put order book, and I have to execute them one by one, there's a few different risks, right? Number one is I'm not sure whether, let's say if I have 5 BTC or let's say 500 BTC, how am I going to make sure that I have exactly the 500 BTC done on this put and exactly the 500 BTC on this put, and I got to do it at the exact same time? Because if I don't do it at the exact same time, I now have basically risk that is like outstanding, right? So we call this like leg risk, or basically the risk that you don't execute both legs atomically, because that you could be exposed in terms of having one leg on, the other not leg on, that could lower your margin, you could get liquidated, right? So one is the risk of basically not enough liquidity on each side or on each leg of the trade, which obviously the RFQ solves. And two is just like risk, right? You don't want to be exposed to one just doing one leg and then just like being liquidated while you're executing, right, and jeopardizing your entire portfolio. So that's basically reason number two. And then there's reason number three, which is kind of like a lesser known reason, but it's very important for institutions, especially because institutions are trading in such large size, is because every time, let's say you're trading 1,000 BTC, let's say you did have liquidity on the order book, right? As you're executing 1,000 BTC, in the act of executing, you will basically go and lift basically the entire order book, right? And you will drive up the price or drive down the price because of the amount of size that you're doing, right? And so as you're executing, people basically the market is reflexive, right? People can see what you're doing and then prices react. So you end up driving the price up or down on yourself while you're executing. And so that's why privacy is needed, right? So you need, so number one is you need size and you on-demand liquidity for size. Two is you need atomic leg execution for the reasons I mentioned. And number three is you need privacy, because if you start executing the stuff in public, the market starts to respond, and then you basically have create more adverse slippage for yourself, right? And so Paradigm was invented to basically solve these problems. And the way we do that is through this protocol called RFQ, right? And so RFQ is pretty simple. It's exactly as the name sounds. I have intent, you basically create a request for that intent. So let's say you want to buy, let's say this is like Carlsberg, somebody just created this 90,000, 120,000, you say create, you select the venue. So we support multiple venues. You can see we select Arabic, that's the venue where we started. But today we support Paradex, Bybit, Bit.com, and a bunch of other venues we have coming up, right? So let's say I do Paradex, for example. I say, hey,
Okay,
you know
so
what?
let's take a step back here. So what does this mean exactly? Like the trade is going to settle on Paradex? Like you have an account on
Correct.
Paradex and you want the trades to settle in that account there?
Exactly. So I can either invoke this RFQ directly from Paradex itself using the agent that I just showed. We will also have it on the UI. So basically, this entire UI that you see, we will now basically embed this on Paradex itself, right? So you'll have agentic execution, but you also have the benefit of just straight up just looking at the RFQ board and being able to interact with it, right? The one thing to kind of mention is this works really, really well for options. Number one, because it's so simple, right? It's just you create, you don't have to look at the wall of numbers. You just simply just put in the strikes that you want, get a price, click buy or sell, and you're done, right? One price, full size, no slippage, right? That's the beauty of this protocol. The other part of this is RFQ also kind of works really well for if you're doing pair trading, for example. So let's say you want to be like long Bitcoin, short ETH, you can source both legs in size and basically get execution. You can also do it if you're doing spot perp, for example. You don't want to be long Bitcoin, short the big Bitcoin perp. Boom, I can do that, via RFQ, right? So once the RFQ is embedded in Paradex, this will open up a completely new way of trading, right? You'll be able to do basically basket trades. Imagine you have a portfolio of, I don't know, 50 assets and you want to liquidate them all together. You'll literally be able to just say, hey, liquidate my entire portfolio. It will spin up an RFQ for all your positions. You'll be able to get a full price, one price on your entire portfolio and liquidate it sort of instantly without having to go on each order book, put in fucking orders, all that shit's gone, right? So it just makes it very, very simple. And now all this, like your risk expression can be a lot more kind of nuanced, right? Because you can literally construct like a portfolio where let's say you want to be like long Bitcoin, short ETH, but you were like, you know what, let me just, make sure I throw in some options in there as well. And you're betting on some very unique sort of like payoff, for during a particular date. We're going to give you a few dates between strikes. So you can construct these kind of like, programmable portfolios, if you want to call it that. And then request a price on these baskets and effectively execute, right? So it's going to be a game changer. Nothing like this exists in crypto to the level that that we've sort of like built. Obviously, we've built this platform and perfected it over the last since 2019, right? So we've been doing this for a while. So this is going to unlock some incredible, functionality for traders.
Mm-hmm. So is this going to be accessible for retail traders as well, who might not be trading 1,000 BTC lots at once?
Exactly. So we're bringing this technology to retail. It's now available to everybody, right? As soon as it's into the minimum block size will be like, I don't know, like very tiny, like in the hundreds of dollars maybe. We need to have some minimum, but it effectively will be like negligible.
And is the commission structure going to look any different than executing trades in the order book?
Nope, it should be exactly the same, right? If anything, for combos, you will actually pay less. So because you're executing combos, you will actually have something where maybe we could give you a discount like of 50%, let's say, for on the second leg, right? So you actually have an advantage to trading combos through the RFQ versus going directly to the
Yeah, I mean, so that's good because, like you said, I think one of the biggest things with trading spreads and options is trying to get a handle or a guarantee on what price you're actually going to get executed at,
Correct.
and I traded at Interactive Brokers for a long time, and they had a mechanism basically for building these things, so they would guarantee the prices. But this looks like something very similar for the crypto space now. So
yeah, and this is guaranteed execution, right? So guaranteed all or nothing execution on your legs.
And how long are those quotes good for? So if the dealer gives you a price, how quickly does that trade have before it is no longer? valid.
So I mean, if you look at Paradigm, for example, so let's just do like a live RFQ here, right? So let's say this somebody just traded this 90 or 120,000. Let's say I send that again. You know, I want to do, these are all live prices, by the way, right? So you can see it's 25 Bitcoin. You know, instantly you will see like an order book appear. You will see multiple dealers sort of like show prices.
Oh, interesting. So it creates an order book for that specific
on demand.
okay, and then people start investors start posting quotes in there. So okay.
Correct. Yeah, and then these are live as long as the RFQ is live. So people are like live, continuously refreshing prices. So it's very, very convenient. And then you can just like either wait or you can just buy or sell and you're good to go. And you can see here that like, so this price 295 is actually 5 bips better than if I went to the screen directly and tried to do it myself.
Wow.
On each order book, I'm actually getting. So you can see this is 11 bips better. This is 5 bips better. So there's a very massive incentive for you. There you go. It's better view.
Yeah.
It's like 4 bips better on the bid, 11 bips better on the ask. And then you can see your Greeks and exactly what you're trading. I can either submit a quote, I can do a hidden limit order. It's all these like really fancy things that we've sort of
pretty cool. So are you planning on integrating like any sort of Paradigm UI elements into the Paradex options screens?
So this entire UI you see here will actually be available here. So there'll be like an RFQ tab, and that entire tab that I just showed you will be embedded there. So everybody will have like full on access to this thing. Basically, 24/7, and you'll be able to see derivate flow there as well. So it's like our goal here is to make this like the screen for options. You're trading anything options, derivate, Paradigm, bullish, anything else. This is the screen you basically go to, right? And only we can do that because we're the only menu that is connected to basically everybody.
When can we expect that RFQ tab?
Hoping not more than maybe 2.5 weeks. Right.
Okay.
So it's quite close. In the meantime, though, you know, you can actually execute RFQ, but using Time Terminal, right? Which is
so is Terminal live now, or
Terminal is live? It's just we haven't rolled it out to you guys there. Yeah. So I use it every day to manage my position. So this is actually live. What I'm showing you is real time.
Okay.
And this is mainnet. So it is live. I use it every day. I stopped using the UI. It's pretty insane, right? Terminal is fucking amazing because of not just dude. It's fucking insane. I've stopped using. You know, everything I do is here. You know what else is cool? Is like let's say.
The offer?
Okay, so now let's say so you see this thing. So now let's say it's like you know what? You know, take off 1 BTC of my position, right? The RFQ. So basically it will now figure out what my position is. It will say, you know, okay, closing 1 BTC, reduced by 1 on each leg. Okay, cool. And so like, okay, so here's the cool thing, boom. So it's like fetching the quotes. Boom, best as, okay, great. Sure, yes. So it's saying, hey, you know, this hit as it's the wrong terminology here, but let's see. So executing.
Well, I can imagine somebody's going to ask, like, when can I just let the agent trade for me?
Well, you can right now. The agent can trade for you. It's just that I've asked it to give it to ping me explicit instructions on like, hey, do you want to execute this trade or not? But it can trade right now without my like. If I just told it to, it will absolutely do that.
Like you could give it a strategy to trade. Like
absolutely, I can
do a covered call strategy where you're basically selling the nearest expiration every day.
Yeah, it can absolutely do that. It can absolutely do that. Not only that, like I can do some insane things with it. So I have these cron jobs running in the back, right? Which is so effectively like you can see it's like okay. So let's say okay, this thing is 3 BTC, right? So okay, so I was like okay, what is my delta? And so like it'll calculate it. So it'll fetch my account. So pull my account summary, snapshot, and then effective. Okay, so I'm basically net short 0.68 delta, right? So now I can put in some very, very like customized TPSLs, but on my entire portfolio, right? Not on positions. So I can say, look, hey, if so, right now I'm short, let's say 60 BTC. So let's say I say, okay, if set up a cron job such that if BTC crosses trades below, let's say 6100. 6100, hedge 80% of my delta using perps. Then if it keeps going lower below 56, then just close my position via RFQ. How insane is that, right? So basically, like, if any like the moment I start taking on, basically adding some delta because I'm not short, and it's basically like, it's basically like so if it starts falling, for example, then I will hedge that, right? So let me just set that up. Yep. So then just okay. So it's like create a crop job to monitor BTC and hedge. Okay. So then it says, okay, look, job ID, BTC. So it creates this delta hedge monitor. It runs every 60 seconds. I'm actually working on something now. I actually think we already have this, which is like, it's not like it listens. So we have an event listener to basically say like, if BTC crosses, below this number, hedge 80% of my delta. And then if it goes even below 56, then just close it out via RFQ and then just run this job every 60 seconds, right? Thanks. And then basically I can just like check for all my cron jobs. So here, you can just ask it to run or stop, and it's just like listens, right? Wow. How insane is that?
That's crazy. So could you also have it like update you via Telegram on positions and where things are at as far as, I guess, anything in your portfolio?
I thought you never asked, bro. So we have this really sick. So yeah. So yes, the short answer is, let me just share my screen. Stop sharing. So basically, like, I have this. Let me just open my Telegram. So there you go. So I have this like Fitty Clause bot that you guys can you guys see?
Screen isn't shared yet.
Okay, so window. Okay, so let's try this. Chrome tab, nope. Screen tab, nope. Can you see or no? Okay, there you go. So you have this like Fitty Clause kind of bot, and it's basically like it's giving like, so I can speak to it from my Telegram. So not only is it giving me updates,
oh wow,
but if I'm on a plane, I can control my entire portfolio from Telegram. I don't even need to go to the UI, because a lot of the times the UIs get finicky because of the connection. It's like a lot of issues to like, it needs time to load and stuff, especially if the connection is bad. And I can just all I need is a Telegram connection, and it just works.
Dang. So, okay. So I know from my experience, automating this sort of thing with AI and connecting chat or Telegram or whatever, and doing this sort of analysis is consuming quite a few tokens. So like, how are you managing that? Is that just all baked into the commissions of the trades, or is there anything additional for the terminal?
Yeah. So we are going to roll this out. So yeah, there's no getting around credits, right? This shit is expensive. So, but what we want to do is we're going to position this as like, look, you can just buy these credits, right? And then, initially, obviously, this is the people that are going to use this are going to be people that really want to embrace AI, right? And basically have the money to be able to spend it on credits. There's no way to get around this because it is expensive. We can't subsidize this. In the beginning, we will kind of like keep it free for people up to a certain limit. But then beyond that, you basically have to top it up and add credits, right? But what we do is we basically like have these really cool tools. So you basically be able to see, for example, like what model am I running, for example, right? So here you can say like,
here, we lost your screen.
Yeah, here you go. So there you go. So you can see is like it says like what model am I running? And so here's the, there you go. So you're running Claude Haiku 4.5, right? So we give you the ability to basically like change your model. So if you want to run Haiku, which is much more cost efficient, for example, you can do that, right? And so like we'll give the user the choice, right? Rather than us trying to dictate whatever, right? If you want to use something more expensive, go ahead, use it. If you want to use something cheap, go ahead, use it.
Yeah. What about allowing a user to plug in their own API key for their own Claude or Anthropic or OpenAI or whatever, DeepSeek?
That's exactly, you can do that. If you already have an open class set up, all you need to do is put in your WSS and your
Okay.
So bring your own agent, basically, BYOA. And then it's got some really cool, like other really cool features too. It's just that you can plot the BTC price. We have like UI components we're making available too, so that basically you can render all the stuff kind of like richer, right? And then eventually, you'll be able to, like, for example, there's no reason why this thing can't trade on Hyperliquid too, by the way, right? It's just an MCP, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's just like we don't want to be like locked in, because users obviously are trading on multiple venues, right? You don't want to be locking users in. So our goal was to say, hey, you know what? If users want choice, let them have choice, right? Like, we should be in a way in which obviously you want to connect to all of DeFi. Yeah, go ahead, have fun.
Yeah, no, I think, okay, so this is one idea that I had, and it sounds like it would be doable then, is if you had the bot, if you're doing funding rate arbitrage strategy and you're able to connect into a different exchange as well, you say, hey, set up a funding rate arbitrage. I want to enter a trade when the funding rate difference between these two exchanges on these, assets exceed 30% or something like that. Close the trade out if account balance on one of the exchanges drops by X, right? Because that's the huge issue with funding rate arbitrage. Scissor and I were kind of talking about this earlier. Is you got to keep an eye on your equity on the exchange, because as one position moves up in value, the other one's going to go down.
So you want to,
yeah, and you don't want to have to like sit at your screen all the time in order to babysit this, because you don't necessarily know how fast the prices are going to move and if they move fast enough. So
yeah, and then this will like send you alerts, will trigger rebalancers, like whatever you need to do, right? It's just this thing can also listen to Polymarket. If like there's a market on Polymarket and it's like it wants to like listen to it and make a decision based on that, it can do that. It's insane. Like here's a good example. This is like a buddy of mine that runs a Telegram like a channel. This bot is connected, subscribes to the Telegram channel. You can see it's like the alert says, check the Telegram channel for it's correct for new posts, fetch the page and compare against what was last seen. If there are new posts since the last check, summarize them concisely and flag any trade suggestions with this emoji. Send the summary to the user via the main web chat session. If there are no new posts, do nothing and stay silent. So it's insane. Like I can listen to anything in the world and set shit up, right? This daisy chaining of intent, daisy chaining of outcomes it's it. This is the future, right? Like the world belongs now to the stay-at-home trader that is basically fucking just like doing things, right? And our goal is to basically make this like as simple as possible, and of course ultimately get them to execute on Paradex, but make the intent and the UX so easy that they just love the product, right? It's like you're not going to go anywhere if I just make it that easy for you to trade.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, what about when sub accounts or like cross chain or just different wallets, right? Is that right integrated now, in these features?
There's no reason it can't be. It's not yet, but for example, if you install the Hyperliquid MCP on this thing, it will be able to use it. If you basically all you need is an MCP and a scale, and you're good to go. Okay. Like it's that easy.
That's easy. Yeah, plug and play.
Yeah, exactly. So we've just abstracted away all of like the dev setup, right? Which is like, I gotta fuck around with OpenClaw and this and that, like whatever, like all that shit's gone away. It's like one click, you click this thing, you download it, you buy some credits, and you're good to go. It's like as simple as that.
I'm like blown away every day by what we're able to do now with this. It's just crazy.
and it's only going to get fucking better, man. It's only like somehow this is just like, I feel like I'm late. I feel like, I'm late to the party. And like, I already feel like we've made some major sort of like, I feel like there's some really major breakthroughs in terms of how we think about things, right? Like my whole thesis is, being a gamer myself, my whole thesis is OpenClaw to me is more than AI itself. OpenClaw to me is really like the next kind of step in like the computing revolution, the personal computing revolution. Because what it has given us is that it's given the users a new device, right? And now our goal is to basically populate that new device with apps and things like that. And so like, to me, it's just like the canvas is just completely, it's a completely like huge canvas now that we can paint on. And the way I think about it is like, a very easy, so that's like the personal computing way to think about it. It's just like everybody's got a new device. Now we got to think about apps and features for this new device, right? The other really kind of like more intuitive way to think about it, and especially if you've been gaming for a long time, you will get this instantly. Is like, to me, not every single person in the world now has a character, right? And this character, our goal is to upskill this character with like skills and potions and strengths and all different like spells and things like that. This to me is like the modern incarnation of like, the skills to me are like spells. The skills to me are like, like abilities, like, oh, I want to increase my agility, I want to decrease my strength, things like that, right? And then in a way in which I upskill this character and basically send out this character to farm in the world, right? And the farming here is actually making money, right? And then ultimately each person in the world has a character, and your character is going to be my character. He's going to meet my character, and we're going to fucking duke it out and try to make money, because trading is a PvP game. So it's like an MMORPG and PvP game, kind of like all at the same time, right? And so we now have to think about, this new world and developing software for this new reality, right? Software is dead, right? UIs are dead, right? You cannot think of them anymore. That's why we stopped thinking and building these things, UIs, like 2 or 3 months ago. We said, you know what? We need to be where this puck is going. We need to embrace AI. We need to embrace this new way of thinking and just build for the future. If people don't get it now, fuck it, no problem. They will get it in like a year, right? And this will be the best thing that you will use. It'll be so good that you will be addicted. You will not use anything else, right? And we're doing this across not just Paradex, but both Paradigm and Paradex, right? Because Time Terminal sits on top of Paradigm and Paradex, right? And we're basically replacing the static UIs with this very dynamic, unconstrained way of expressing intent, and then basically, effecting an outcome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where things are going to be. I don't know. It seems like even 6 months ago, between 6 months ago and today, like it's just been a huge acceleration in how AI is changing things, and I'm able to create things now that I would never have dreamed, like without having a team of developers, working for me in such a short time period. And if you know what you want to build now, this is like one of the greatest times to be alive, because really you're just limited by your imagination, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's insane. Like if you think about like, crypto, AI, and quantum are all happening together, right? It's not like 1, 2, like sequentially happening, like maybe 10 years, apart. It's literally all happening together, right? So, I mean, it's exciting. It's also fucking stressful if you're a developer, because you're like, holy shit! Like every day I wake up and there's like 20 different things I missed in AI because somebody saw like, now they're breaking Shor's algorithm, now they're doing this, now they're doing that, and I'm like, bro, I can't keep up. Like it's
that's why I don't test. I let people test that. I'm like, I'll see the winners. I'm happy to be like 30 days behind. I'm gonna save money on my own like token expense, and I'll know which models are just better. So all the hype that I see on Twitter, I'm just like, run with it, guys. Let me know which one to test in 30 days.
Let them duke it out.
See, you're smart. I don't have the luxury of that, because if I let them do that, I'm late, right? So it's like, it's like I have to be ahead, right? We have to be skate where the puck is going, right? Not otherwise you're just going to be behind.
Yeah, but at the same time too, you can't be reactionary, right? Because you kind of have to have some foresight as to, okay, like out of these models that are getting developed, you're hearing like, especially like you hear a lot of hype about the Chinese models, and it's like they look great because they're so cheap, but it turns out there's a reason they cheap. They're hitting they're doing awesome in their benchmarks, but in actual like practical tasks, that's where they're failing. And Scissor, is kind of to your point, like these other people are the ones that are kind of pushing the boundaries and testing these models, these new models that are coming out.
I don't
right?
need to spend an extra $1,000 or $5,000, you know, to keep up. Like,
Yeah,
I can save that money, and I can wait a couple weeks, and then I can just move to that next model, and my expense stays the same.
Yeah.
You know, am I spending a salary on tokens?
It's like having another employee, pretty much. That's kind of how I'm viewing it, but maybe a discounted employee, because
it's a super cheap, 100x thousand smarter that doesn't get tired, doesn't bitch.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have fucking people.
I'll argue with that, because I did have Claude bitch at me and just refuse to do a task. I was trying to scrape some data from some websites, and so I was using the Claude plugin for Chrome, and it would get through a few lines of data, it'd quit, say, hey, I can write you a Python script. And I was like, no, you can't do that because there's a CAPTCHA on the page. And it's like, fine. So I went through a few iterations of this, and then I just stopped. It said, I'm not going to work on this anymore. So I was kind of dumbfounded. I never had AI just flat out refuse to work on something. So then
it's done.
OpenAI
it's done this to me too.
Oh, it's happened to you as well?
Oh yeah, multiple times. It's like I've you know, the other day I think I was telling my Sergey, who works with us, I was like, I asked it to do something, and it literally just said no. Like, no explanation, nothing. It just said no, and I'm like, it's like in that moment I was like, what? It's like no, I tell you what to do, you know. So it was like, and then I realized that like it got like maybe it like garbled the context like in some way, where like it was like switching between cron jobs, and you know, I was at the same time asking like just fucking badgering it with my query, and it just failed, and it just says like no. And I'm like, wow. So it's like you don't know what to say, so that's what you say. It's just like no. So it's
at least it's very, very concise about it.
Yeah,
so.
Sometimes you got to tell it you're the boss, because it'll be like, I think you're going in the wrong direction, and I'm like, no, this is the task. This is the direction.
Go do the task. Yeah.
I mean,
shut up and do your job. Like,
that's basically what I told it. And when it had come back to me and is like, hey, I can give you instructions on how to do this yourself. I was like, I just told you how to do it. Like, I want you to do it. You know, that's what I'm paying you for.
Exactly.
So I don't know. At some point when
recording myself interacting, but I'm like, oh man, sometimes I say some stuff, because sometimes I do get mad. Sometimes I do. I give it attitude, and I talk to it most of the time. So like even for like coding, I'm like, it's a full conversation.
Caesar might be using it for therapy.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
It's like a cheaper therapist, you know. It's just
how do I make friends, guys?
Like, I think you need friends, bro. Like, you need to go outside, go turn around, see like grass behind you.
Yeah.
But you know what else I've been doing, which is like pretty cool. I've been like writing down my dreams recently, and like basically like just like telling it my dreams and just like seeing what it says. It is wild. Like it is wild. It will like it give you insight about like it, because it knows about like, you know, how people, you know, all these like dream interpreters. You know, they assign like, oh, this thing is about, you know, maybe your childhood. This is about like validation. This is about ambition. It's like the Greeks used it for, you know, whatever. And it's like fucking wild. Like you will literally like maybe I've done it like maybe like about 5 dreams now, and it is entertaining. Like it's like you read that and you're like, it's like, because like I've done it a couple times. Like, I'm like, then I read it and I go to work, and as I'm going to work, I'm like, that was fucking interesting. Like, because usually you like think about a dream, maybe you'll pick up on maybe 1 or 2 things, you'll make some association. Yeah, okay, maybe this is about childhood, maybe it's about whatever. But you've never had anybody full on interpret the entire dream, right? All the little details, and then come up with like a coherent way to connect all the dots. I mean, even if it's wrong, it's like, who cares? It's just, it's like, you know, you walk away with it. It's like, and the reason I'm writing it is because I'm like, maybe one day I'll just like publish it on a blog of like AI's interpretation of my dreams, you know, which is like wild and cool at the same time.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. My daughter writes her dreams down, so I should see if she's given them AI to analyze.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool.
All right. Cool. Well, I'm stoked to give the terminal a try, and looking forward to seeing when the RFQs are going to be available.
I can't roll it out to you guys. We'll have to figure out how to do it. So maybe give us a week or so. I'll roll it out to you guys so you guys can start streaming about it. Right? There's just so many cool things it can do. I'm very excited to see what it does once we put it in, users' hands, and then we'll go like step by step and build this thing out.
Awesome.
Nice.
Arjun's telling us to wrap it up.
Awesome.
So,
Well, thank you guys. Very nice
Yeah.
to see you guys. It's been a while.
thank you.
I mean,
yeah,
thanks for showing us all the alpha under the hood.
yeah,
Thank you,
That's the
bro.
real
We've been
stuff.
yeah, this is pretty cool.
We've been cooking, and trust me, you're not ready yet. There's just so much. I mean, I have like Dime Terminal. If you thought today was cool, you have no clue. Dime Terminal, like this is like Dime Terminal 0.001. There is something else we're working on also for Dime Terminal that it's going to blow everybody's mind. Like, trust me, it is nothing like anything out there. It's going to blow everybody's mind. I promise you. So just give us to stay patient, but there's a lot of really cool shit coming.
All right. Awesome.
Cool.
All
See you
right.
guys.
See you guys. All right.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty, guys.
Later. Bye.